There is a desk in a small apartment in Nagano that gets used for 9 hours a day. Work in the morning, studying in the evening, sometimes a hobby, or a bit of correspondence squeezed in somewhere between. There is no drawer organizer, no elaborate filing system, no expensive desk setup ordered from a glossy office supply catalog. And yet, at the end of any given day, at any hour you happen to look, that desk would have exactly one thing on it, whatever's being worked on right now, and nothing else. No stack of old mail waiting to be opened, no collection of pens that no longer write, no coffee ring left behind from 3 days ago. And somewhere else in the world right now, someone is sitting down to work at a desk buried under 3 coffee mugs, a tangle of charging cables, a stack of mail that arrived 2 weeks ago, and a sticky note reminding them of something they've already forgotten the original context for, stuck to a monitor alongside 4 others exactly like it. They spent an hour last Sunday clearing it completely. It took 4 days to look exactly like it did before, and by the following Sunday, the whole hour-long process has to happen all over again, an endless loop with no actual finish line. What if the difference has nothing to do with how much desk space you have, and nothing to do with how many organizers you own, and everything to do with a single 3-minute habit almost nobody does at the actual moment it would matter most? By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what that habit is, why item number 6 is the one sitting on almost every desk watching this right now quietly stealing focus, and how you can start applying all of it before you sit down to work, tomorrow, without buying a single thing between now and then. Let's take apart something almost everyone believes about a cluttered desk. The belief is this: clutter is a storage problem. If papers keep piling up and cables stay tangled, the solution must surely be a better organizer, a cable management box, a proper filing cabinet, a fresh, Pinterest-worthy desk setup, complete with matching trays and a labeled bin for absolutely everything imaginable. It's the entire quiet premise behind the desk accessory industry: buy more containers to hold more things. An entire aisle of solutions for a problem none of them were ever designed to actually solve. And for an enormous number of people, more containers on the desk simply becomes more surface area for clutter to spread into, because the containers themselves become one more thing to work around, one more shape competing for space on a surface that was never the problem in the first place. Japanese desks, often in apartments a fraction the size of a typical Western home office, consistently manage to stay clear for a completely different reason entirely. It isn't the amount of storage. It's a single habit, practiced at the exact moment most people skip it entirely, the end of a work session, not the end of the week. A distinction that sounds small until you realize how much clutter accumulates in the 7 days between one Sunday reset and the next. Let's go through the practices built around that habit, the ones that actually show up on a real desk, one by one, because the order they happen in matters as much as the practices themselves. And stay with this one through the end, because item number 6 is the one nearly every desk watching this has sitting on it right now, quietly working against every other habit on this list. The first and central habit is the 3-minute reset, done at the close of every single work session, not once a week. The moment you're finished, before standing up, everything gets returned to its place. Papers filed or binned, cup carried back to the kitchen, cables coiled neatly, surface wiped clean if it needs it. Here's why this matters more than a weekend deep clean ever could. A desk that resets after every session never accumulates a backlog large enough to feel like a chore. There's no mountain of mess waiting, because there was never a mountain, only ever one session's worth of stuff, handled immediately, every single time, before it ever has the chance to introduce itself to tomorrow's clutter. The shift, the work session isn't finished until the desk is reset, not just the task. It adds 3 minutes to your day and removes an entire weekend chore from your month. The first few times it feels like an interruption to your momentum, an unnecessary pause right when you'd rather just walk away. Within 2 weeks, it stops feeling like a task at all. It simply becomes the last 3 minutes of working. The same way locking a door is simply the last motion of leaving a house. The second practice is about what's allowed on the surface while you're actually working. One task, one set of materials, visible at a time. Not the current project plus 3 older ones plus a stack of reference material you might conceivably need someday. Just exactly what today's work actually requires, nothing more. Here's the mechanism. Every extra item within your field of vision is a tiny, constant claim on attention. A quiet reminder of something unfinished, something to circle back to eventually, something your brain has to actively work to ignore instead of never noticing at all. A small, ongoing tax on attention that most people never notice because it's been sitting there so long it's become part of the background. The shift, before starting any session, clear everything except what this specific task needs, and put yesterday's materials away before today's come out. This is harder than it sounds the first week, mostly because it feels efficient to leave things half out just in case you need them again. But that small convenience is exactly what quietly turns one project's leftovers into 3 projects worth of visual noise by Thursday. The third practice changes where things live when they're not in active use. Vertical storage on shelves or a wall organizer instead of horizontal piles across the desk surface. A stack of papers left on a desk grows in exactly the same direction your eyes naturally travel across it, while those exact same papers filed upright on a nearby shelf take up almost no visual space in the room at all. Here's why this matters. A horizontal pile requires you to remember what's in it and dig through it to find anything, while a vertical labeled system lets you see and retrieve exactly one thing without disturbing anything else around it. Which sounds like a small convenience until you count how many times a day you actually go looking for something specific. The shift, anything not needed for today's task, moves to a vertical spot off the desk surface, even if that spot is just a single upright folder rack propped in the corner of a shelf. It doesn't need to be elegant. It just needs to hold things standing up instead of stacking flat, which alone changes how your eyes and your hands interact with it every single time. The fourth practice is about cables. One of the fastest ways any desk starts looking chaotic, regardless of how tidy everything else is. A single, deliberate channel or clip system that routes every cable along one path, instead of letting each individual device's cord find its own chaotic way across the desk. Here's the mechanism worth understanding. A tangle of cables snaking across a desk doesn't just look messy. It actively slows you down every single time you need to unplug or trace one back to its source, adding tiny friction to a dozen small actions throughout the day that quietly compounds into a very real, measurable drag on focus by the afternoon. The shift, route every cable along a single path using simple clips or a channel, so a glance at the desk shows order even in the one area most desks give up on entirely. A $5 clip set solves this for most setups, and the difference between a routed cable and a loose one is entirely visible even from across the room, long before anyone examines the desk closely enough to notice anything else. The fifth practice is a landing zone for anything that arrives unexpectedly. Mail, printed documents, a colleague's borrowed item, a package that just arrived, set down the moment it enters your workspace. A single small tray, positioned somewhere other than the center of your desk, exists specifically to catch these things before they land somewhere random and permanent. Here's why this one habit prevents so much of what follows. Without a landing zone, incoming items default to the most open flat surface available, which is almost always the desk itself, and once one item lands there without a home, it quietly gives permission for the next one to join it, and then a third, until the entire corner of the desk has silently become an unofficial second inbox nobody ever agreed to. The shift, a single small tray near the edge of your desk, sorted within the same day, so nothing new is ever allowed to choose its own resting spot on its own terms. It sounds almost too simple to matter, a single tray, but the difference between having one and not having one is often the entire difference between a desk that stays clear and one that quietly fills back up within a week, regardless of how well everything else on this list is followed. The sixth practice is the one nearly every desk watching this video is guilty of right now without a second thought. The coffee mug, water glass, or snack plate that quietly accumulates throughout the day and stays exactly where it was set down. Here's why this single item does more damage than almost anything else on this list. A dish left on a desk doesn't just take up physical space. It's a small, visible signal of an unfinished loop, something your mind quietly registers every single time your eyes happen to pass over it. And multiple dishes across a single day compound into a low hum of visual clutter that never fully resolves, quietly undermining the sense of calm every other habit on this list is working to build. The shift, the moment a cup or plate is empty, it leaves the desk immediately, on the way to wherever you're headed next. Never set back down within arm's reach out of habit or laziness. This is often the single easiest change on the entire list to make, and the one people resist the most, purely because standing up feels like an interruption in the exact moment. Focus feels fragile, even though the walk itself takes less than 15 seconds. The seventh practice extends the same reset habit to the screen in front of you, not just the physical surface. Closing unused tabs, quitting unnecessary applications, and clearing your digital desktop at the end of each session, the same way you'd clear the physical one. Here's the mechanism. A browser with 40 open tabs functions exactly like a desk buried in papers, each one a small unresolved claim on your attention, and a cluttered digital desktop produces the identical mental hum as a cluttered physical one, even though it's easy to overlook since it doesn't take up visible real estate in the room the way a stack of papers or a dirty cup does. The shift: close what you're finished with the moment you're finished with it, treating your screen as an extension of the same desk you just reset, not some separate, invisible space quietly exempt from the same rule. It's easy to feel proud of a spotless physical desk while 40 tabs quietly pile up behind the same screen you're staring at, entirely unaware that the mental clutter migrated rather than disappeared. And the eighth practice is a single closing question, borrowed from the same instinct behind clearing an entryway before a guest arrives. Would this desk look intentional if someone walked in right now, this second? Not after a quick tidy, right now. If the honest answer is no, something on it doesn't have a place yet, and that's exactly the item the whole system has been quietly waiting for you to deal with. Run this test once a day for a week, and the same one or two culprits tend to show up again and again, which is usually the clearest sign of exactly where the rest of this list still needs attention. So here's all 8 in one breath. The 3-minute reset at the end of every session, not once a week. One task's materials visible at a time. Vertical storage instead of horizontal piles. Cables routed along a single path. A landing zone for anything unexpected. Dishes leaving the desk the instant they're empty. The digital reset alongside the physical one. And the intentional desk test, applied anytime you want an honest read on where things stand. None of this requires a new desk, a cable management kit, or a single new organizer. What it requires is something smaller and much harder to sell. 3 extra minutes at the exact moment you're most tempted to skip them and simply walk away. So here's what we'd suggest. Not this weekend, tomorrow, at the end of your very first work session. Apply just the 3-minute reset, nothing else yet. The next day, add one more practice. Let the system build slowly, instead of trying to overhaul your entire workspace in a single exhausting evening. Most people who fix a cluttered desk for good never do it with one dramatic overhaul. They do it by quietly adding one new habit a week until the whole workspace is simply following the same quiet rule without anyone having to think about it anymore. The desk in Nagano was never kept clear by a single dramatic cleanup either. It stayed clear because the reset happened at the end of every single session, so consistently, for so many years, that there was simply never anything left to clean. No backlog waiting quietly for a weekend that may or may not actually arrive. If this changed the way you think about your own workspace, share it with someone who reorganizes their desk every single Sunday and still can't explain why it's buried again by Wednesday. They might just be missing the 3 minutes, the one habit no amount of Sunday effort can substitute for. This has been a look into the quiet habit behind desks that never feel cluttered. Not a shopping list for new organizers, an invitation to notice what happens in the 60 seconds right after you stand up from your desk each day, since that quiet moment is doing far more work than any organizer ever could. Tell us in the comments which of these 8 practices your workspace is missing right now. We'll see you in the next one.